And I want to talk just a little bit here about how Snap-on tools are made. Their wrenches and their sockets, screwdrivers as well, their pliers. This here is a Snap-on standard wrench. This is a flank drive wrench. It's not the flank drive plus version of it. This is just a regular open end. This is a flank drive socket, 11/16, just like the wrench. This is a 3H drive socket, 6-point. Wrench is extremely comfortable to work with. It's not that heavy. You can work with this all day long and not fatigue yourself. Same thing with their sockets. They're not super heavy. You can work with them all day long, not fatigue yourself from the weight of the tools. One of the things Snap-on does is they use virgin steels, i.e. that means they're not recycled. There's no recycling in any of the steel they use. Recycled steels can be weaker because of the impurities in them. Snap-on, using the virgin steels, they can create their own alloy formulas. So they can combine different virgin steels to come up with what makes a good lightweight wrench that can withstand the daily use that somebody working for a living using them is going to put them through. Most other companies, well, all the other companies, they don't know what Snap-on's formula is. That's why Icon at Hobo Freight, while they copy the look of the Snap-on wrenches and sockets, the one thing they can't copy is the alloy formulas. Their wrenches and sockets are made out of softer steel. Snap-ons are made out of a harder steel. The Rockwell hardness is harder on them. That's why your Snap-ons don't get all dinged up and dented up. There are some YouTubers out there now who are starting to tell the truth about some of the Icon stuff because they've used it for a little while. They were a little critical of it, and Hobo Freight pulled the free tools. So now they have no reason to give glowing reviews. And some of them have now opened up and admitted that, like on the imitation Flank Drive Plus that Hobo Freight sells and their Icons, the teeth on them are very soft. They can be damaged in one use. So people are going to say, big deal, I just run to Hobo Freight and they'll give me another one. Yeah, they will. But every time you use it and you damage it each time, how long before driving back and forth to Hobo Freight is that wrench costing you money and becomes a pain in the rear end doing that all the time? It won't take long. You know, you still have to factor in your time, your gas, and that just keeps rising the price of the wrench. Guess what? If this wrench was to ever fail, if you would ever crack the end of it, or something happened to the open end of it, the Snap-on guy comes to you. He replaces that wrench to you. You don't drive anywhere. You don't spend any of your time. You don't spend any of your gas. The wrench still costs the same amount of money in the long run, and the Snap-on guy replaced it. Same thing with the socket. I've seen reviews now on the sockets of Icon. Guys that originally were, oh man, this is same thing as Snap-on. Well, after using them a while, they found out they weren't the same thing as Snap-on. The sockets are all dented up. They're all marred up. They got gouges in them. They're made out of softer steels. They're alloy formula that's being used. And that could be what Hobo Freight is speccing for them. Because just because you see two foreign wrenches that look the same with just different names stamped into them, that's just a stamping into the die. Okay, I'm sure that's some part they can replace in the die and do a run of Icons here, or run a Capri over there, or run of whomever over here. That's easy to do. And each one of those tool makers, or tool sellers, because they don't make tools, they contracted this foreign company to make the wrenches for them, they can also spec the alloy that they want. So if the company that makes them says, yeah, we can make them in these 3 different alloy standards, these are the prices for each one. The better the wrench, the higher the cost. Well, Hobo Freight's all about low cost. They buy everything low bid. Whatever's the lowest cost, that's what they pay for. That's why their wrenches and their sockets dent, get gouges in them, why the teeth are so soft in the head of their imitation Flank Drive Plus. They're made out of a softer metal. So you got to be wary of these things. That's the difference between a snap-on wrench and a lot of these other cheap wrenches out there. None of them can copy the alloy formula. You know what else they can't copy? They can't copy the heat treating process that Snap-on has developed for their own tools. They don't know what it is. They don't know how long Snap-on heat treats it for, what the process is during their heat treatment. A lot of people think, oh, heat treatment's heat treatment. Well, no, it's not. Snap-on has determined how long they need to heat something, what they dip it into to cool it, you name it. It's different factors go into it. And that's another thing that none of these foreign companies can copy because they don't know what it is. They can come up with their own heat treating on the wrench. Maybe they'll get lucky and stumble upon exactly what Snap-on's doing. It's highly doubtful they'll ever come up on the formula that Snap-on has created for their wrenches. So these are all things you need to think about. You know, same thing with the pliers. Snap-on has their own alloy formulas that's proprietary. Nobody knows what it is except for Snap-on. They created it. They keep it. It's a secret. It's a trade secret for Snap-on. Screwdrivers, same thing. Whatever the alloy formula is, it's proprietary. Nobody knows except Snap-on. So you got to think about these things. It does make a difference. And as Snap-on says, there is a difference. Remember this. Quality is not cheap. Cheap is not quality. Just because somebody makes a wrench that looks like a Snap-on wrench doesn't mean it will perform like a Snap-on wrench. Well, the first handful of times you use it, it'll look pretty, and you'll say, hey, this is the same thing. But after you've used it a while and it starts getting all marred up and gouges in it and stuff, and you're trying to use it and it's digging into your hand and chrome's peeling off, a gear wrench. Horrible at chrome peeling off on gear wrench stuff. I bought a set of gear wrenches once, ratcheting, and big mistake, big mistake. Chrome started peeling off, and you can slice yourself wide open. It's just like a razor blade when chrome peels off. So stop and think about that stuff. This is all goes in to what you should be thinking about when you purchase tools. I hope this information helps because you got a lot of YouTubers trying to steer you in a different direction. This is some of what really goes on, some of the things you should be thinking about. I hope this helps.